ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 17th verse. You can repeat after me. Yasvatmaratirev syad
यस्त्व आत्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
यस्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
यस्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
Anyone would like to recite the verse?
यस्त्वे आत्मरतिरेव स्यात्
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मनि एव च सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते। यस्त्व आत्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
It's there. Go.
Okay. यतु आत्मरति एव
स्यात्
आत्मतृप्त च मानव
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मानि एव सन्तुष्ट
आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्य न विद्यते।
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते।
यस्त्व आत्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मरतिरेव
यस्वात्मरतिरेव
स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तिश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते. Okay, we'll go for synonyms. Yaha,
Yaha,
यः
one
one
who,
who
tu,
to
but,
but
atmaratihi,
आत्मरतिः
taking pleasure in the self.
taking pleasure in the
taking pleasure
self.
in the self
Eva,
Eva,
eva
certainly.
certainly
Syat,
Syat,
that
remains.
remains.
Atmatruptaha,
Atmatriptaha,
self-illuminated.
self-illuminated.
self-illuminated
Cha,
Cha,
cha
and.
and
Manavaha,
Manavaha,
a man.
a man.
man
Atmani,
Atmani,
Atmani
in himself.
in
in
himself.
himself
Eva,
Eva,
only.
only.
Cha,
cha
Cha,
and.
and
and
Santushtaha,
Santushtaha,
perfectly satiated.
perfectly satiated.
Tasya,
Tasya,
his.
his.
Karyam,
karyam
Karyam,
duty.
duty
duty.
Na,
na
Na,
does not.
does not
does not.
Vidyate,
vidya
Vidyate,
exist.
exist.
exist
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: but for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. Purport: a person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impiety within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many thousands of yajna performances. By such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-illuminated by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligations to the Vedic injunctions. Such a Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes pleasure in material arrangements like wine, women, and similar infatuations. So translation once again: but for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. Okay, so let's see this verse, like little bit background. After that one we can go for this verse. So in the third chapter we are in a section called where Krishna is describing about the Jnana Yoga. So here this title of this third chapter is Karma Yoga, but in these statements, in these verses, Arjuna has put lot of his concerns not to fight in battlefield. One of that one is indecisive. So indecisive whether he has to go ahead and fight or not fight, he is not able to take decision anymore. So that is answered in this section. So here Krishna started third chapter by saying first 10 verses as karma yoga is better than jnana yoga, like that, and 10 to 16 verses it describes so if you are not qualified for the karma yoga, then practice karma kanda, like that, like what kind of activities one has to do. So in that section it explained like yajna is the prescribed duty, and when one work has to be done for the satisfaction of Vishnu, otherwise it creates bondage. Then going further, Krishna explained about what is the yajna and why one should need to do the yajna. All these things it's explained in sequence verses like 3.92. It comes like why we need to perform the yajna and what kind of yajna one should be performed, how the demigods we need to parasparam, mutual exchanges between the living entities and the demigods. We seen like then next after that one Ishtan Bhogan, one should offer food to Lord, otherwise it will become like a sin, and at the same time we'll become like without taking a mercy of the Lord as a prasad, so we will become like a thieves, like just going and grabbing in some other house, like that. Then 13th verse it says one should offer the food, otherwise it will be eat, basically sin. Then after that one, how the food is producing, like demigods gives the rain, and from the rain the grains comes, and that grains we need to offer back to Krishna and take it as a prasad. Then after that one, it comes the activities of how one need to be engaged in Krishna consciousness and like that. So it's all like a whole the 10 to 16 verses. It gives jnana, kind of like what is yajna and how it should be, and how we need to be divert, like that. So it's kind of all that jnana it gives. And now from the 17 onwards, what is happening 17 to 24. So if you are qualified for jnana yoga, means so far you got the knowledge. Now in this verses 17 to 24, Krishna is saying practice karma yoga and set an example. So now you know what need to do. Now you practice and set an example for the next generations, like that. So let's see the 17th verse now. Now the present verse, it says yasvatma ratir eva syad. So atmarati, rati means attachment. Atmarati means taking, like self. Atma means soul. So atmarati means taking pleasure in the self. Okay, so rati is one is attachment, one is enjoy or pleasure, like that. So yes, atma ratir eva syad. Okay, then Atma truptasya manavaha. Trupti means satisfaction. What kind of trupti? Atma trupti, self satisfaction. So who? Manava, the person who has the both Atma trupti and Atma ratis, both. And next third one is Atmanevacha santushta. Santushta means satiated, perfectly, like completely self-satisfied. So Atmanevacha santushtas, that is also internal soul. Okay, so who has all these three qualities? Then tasya karyam na vidyate. So for that person, there is nothing, there is no duty to do anything. Like there is nothing is there for him, there is no duty. So that's what this verse is saying. And so here interestingly, Krishna is speaking about the person, like transcendental person. So if you see in this verse, there are three atmas coming. So Atma Ratir, Atma Truptis, Atma Santushta. So three are coming, and when a person, like all are internal, all are related to soul. So that all this attachment, illumination, and santushta, satisfaction, it has to come from internal. So that's why one should turn themselves to inward. So satisfy inwards, illuminated inwards, like that. That time what will happen? That person does not seek anything external. If he is self-satisfied, so you don't want anything externally. So then that person is, we are freed from obligations. Like we read that one, like once Prabhupada also writes in the purport, like the person in Krishna consciousness, like no longer interested in any material activities, and no longer takes pleasure in any kind of material arrangements like wine, woman, and similar infatuations. So because the person who is practicing the Krishna consciousness, or the person who is the Jnana Yoga, the transcendental transcendentalist who is like all have these three qualities, which is internally, inwardly, then there is no specific duty for him to do. And basically it's saying it's all about the Jnana Yogis. The Jnana Yogis, what they do, they renounce everything and they go to the forest and practice meditation. Through that, they expect to transcend this material existence, right? So, and return home back to Godhead. That's what Jnana Yogis do. So Krishna is explaining here. So far I have given the Jnana Yoga, that what in and all, the yajna is the root cause and what kind of yajnas and everything. Then whoever practices this kind of thing, what will happen for them? These three qualities will come. So then it come as it from the inward, it's going to help them. They don't even think or they don't seek anything externally, which is from the material things, material arrangements. So in this way, they situated themselves in the transcendental situation. So basically this verse is saying the transcendentalist doesn't need anything from outside, and there is nothing is there to do as a duty for him. So one does not need anything material. So it's a small purport. I have this much for this verse. If anybody have anything, they can add or they can comment. Before going to this next verse, we will take a pause here. So anyone want to add anything to this verse?
Mataji, that is what they said. They are like, if they are Mahabharata devotee, where they are like Sukadev Goswami, or who don't have any desire whatsoever, they're already on a spiritual plane. It was said about Haridas Thakur, otherwise everybody has to follow rules and regulations and everybody has to follow it. So only when you reach that stage of, where you're not internally, you're not in your bodily conscious, only those people are excused from any duties. Other people have to follow their duties.
Yes, Mataji.
They can't make that. And Prabhupada gives the example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur knew that the prostitute was coming, and yet he waited for her. And even though she came in the middle of the night, he asked her to wait, and the whole pastime unfolds. And then when the prostitute repents and asks for forgiveness, he said, I knew that Ramachandra Khan had sent you, and I would have left this forest long back. I would not even have been here. I only waited in order to deliver you, because he felt sorry for her and he wanted to give her Krishna consciousness, and that's the only reason why he stayed. But normally a renounced person should not be alone with a woman, but that rule does not follow, does not apply to Haridas Thakur, because he's above rules and regulations. That was one example that Prabhupada gave, to say that how a person does not have to follow rules, because for him, had he stayed, it's not a fault. Had he left also, there's no fault. So whatever he decided to do at that given moment is the correct decision.
Very true, Mataji. Like, normal persons can't do all these things. Yes. Okay, any more comments or something? Otherwise, we'll go for the next verse. Okay, let's share my screen. So 3.18. So we'll read the verse. Naiva tasya krutenarto na kruteneha karshana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kachid artha vipashrayah. Naiva tasya krutenarto na kruteneha karshana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kachid artha vipashrayah. Synonyms: na, never, ever, certainly, tasya, his, krutena, by discharge of duty, arthaha, purpose, na, nor, akrutena, without discharge of duty, iha, in this world, karshana, whatever, na, never, cha, and asya, of him, sarva bhuteshu, among all living beings, kachid, any, artha, purpose, vipashrayaha, taking shelter of. Translation: a self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Purport: a self-realized man is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty, save and except activities in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not in activity either, as will be explained in the following verses. A Krishna consciousness man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation. So again, this verse is saying, so it's all about the the people who are exalted, or the people who achieve some kind of level, they can do all these things. So here it's saying the continuation of the previous verse. So the person does not need to do any duty, but now he will, Krishna is going to explain, but there is no reason for him to not to do duty also. It means like, let's see the verse. Naiva tasya krutena artho. Krutena means discharge of the duty. So tasya, next na kruteneha kachina. Kachina means whatever. Na krutena means without discharging the duty. Then na chasya sarvabhuteshu. So he is not going to depend on any other living entities. Then kachit artha vipashrayaha. Vipashrayaha means taking shelter. So self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. So it's kind of Krishna says like surrender kind of words. This one, it says Mam ekam sharanam vraja. So Krishna says, like, one has to surrender to Krishna, like, he is the, like, one of the limbs of the surrender is also thinking that, and full strong conviction that Krishna is going to give his complete protection, and Krishna is the master or guide or leader, like that. So here it says, this same verse is saying, nor has he need to depend on any other living being. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, like, either man or demigod. So once the person or soul who comes to Krishna consciousness, he takes, like, like that verse is there in 2nd chapter 41 verse. Vivashayatmika buddhihi ekeha kurunandana. 1 point resolution, only Krishna, like that. So that's the 1 point resolution is telling here, like 1 point goal is Krishna. No need, like, na chasti sarvabhuteshu. So not depending on any other living entities, and completely taking shelter of Krishna, vipashrayaham. So here it says, and here so this is like, little bit like complete surrender and taking complete faith on Krishna is like, it's a bhakti. But here so far, like, bhakti is not described by Krishna. So here he has introduced bhakti in the chapter, like, saying that one in the form of yajna. So by performing yajna, so offering results to the Lord, like that. It's in that way Krishna introduced the bhakti. So work for the purpose of yajna, like that. But there is no like, reference like Krishna is saying it's mom, like, work for me or do yajna for me, like that. So then going forward, we will get that one. So here it's saying the stressed versus sarvabhuteshu. So the person who is the devotee of Lord Krishna, and who never takes any kind of dependent on any other living entities. So here other living entities means here Krishna is not not there in that one. Sarva bhuteshu, because Krishna here speaking about the vertical relationship or vertical interaction, but not a horizontal interaction. Vertical interaction means so our relationship with Krishna, and horizontal interaction means our relationship with other living entities. So here it's Krishna is speaking about the horizontal interaction. So one should know, the person who is the transcendentalist, who is have all this remaining, like in the previous verse it explained Atmarati, Atma Tripti, Atma Santushtaha. So those qualities who have that transcendentalist never depends on any other living being. That living beings are represent as the horizontal relationship. It means that our relationship with other living entities in this material world. So but it's not this the Supreme Lord, it's not including that one. So here Krishna is talking about the especially the sannyasis, who are topmost in the varnashrama dharma. So they move here and there, and they practice jnana yoga, and they want to attain the liberation. So Prabhupada in the part like Prabhupada explains, so a Krishna consciousness man does not take any shelter on either man or demigod, because whatever he do in Krishna consciousness, he feels like it's sufficient to discharge of the obligation. So here we quote that Devashi Bhutat Paranam Pitrunam. That verse comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whoever surrenders on the Mukunda, unto the Mukunda's lotus feet, and whoever takes the shelter at the lotus feet of Mukunda, they don't have any kind of obligations towards the forefathers, like next sages, kings, all these things. It means that by birth we have obligations with this default relationship which we have in this material world. But by taking shelter of Krishna, so what will happen? We get freed from all these kind of obligations. That's what here it's saying. So the transcendentalist, what happens due to the Jnana Yoga, he may not know the Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead sometimes, but the mercy of the devotees, he may develop that kind of taste and come back to the path of the absolute truth. But thing is, the Jnana Yogi who is there with all these qualities, so he renounced like this, like he don't have any kind of thing to expect from externally from the material, and at the same time he is self-satisfied, and he practices in course, and he renounces everything. And here it says, going further, what will happen now? Krishna is saying the qualities how the transcendentalist Jnana Yogi sees, and how his situation is no work and there is no cause to do any work also, and because he is completely satisfied in his activities sufficient which he is doing in the discharge of the devotional service to the Lord, and due to that one, what will happen? So he is self-satisfied, and he is not depending on any other living entities. So going forward again, Krishna is going to explain with this again qualities, like these two verses explained, and the next verse again it goes about how one need to take shelter. So far know the knowledge, and there is detachment is there, like no reason to do any duty, and like that, and self-satisfied. Now going forward it explains where to take shelter, like that. So again, small purport, I don't have much about this verse. So if anybody have any comments or realizations, you can share now before going to the next verse. All are small verses today. Any comments? Okay, if no one has comments, then let's go for the next verse. This is 319. Tasmat asaktaha satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. Tasmat asaktaha satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. Tasmat, therefore, asaktaha, without attachment, satatam, constantly, karyam, as duty, karma, work, samachara, perform, asaktaha, unattached, he, certainly, acharan, performing, karma, work, param, the supreme, apnoti, achieves, purushaha, a man. Translation: therefore, without being attached to the fruits of actions, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. Purport: the Supreme is the personality of Godhead for the devotees and liberation for the impersonalist. A person, therefore, acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress toward the supreme goal of life. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna, but because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment, but to act on behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. That is the perfect action of the highest degree recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for purification of impious activities that were performed in the field of sense gratification. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reactions of good or evil work. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the result but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activities but is completely non-attached. Translation: therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. So on this continuation of the that verse, it's saying that tasmat means therefore. So therefore means it's a what is that one? It's described in the previous verse. So tasmat asaktaha satatam. So we saw how much detached the transcendentalist in the previous two verses. So no duty to perform because he don't have anything needed from the material externally, from the material, like kind of material arrangements or material things. Then second verse it says there is no cause for him like to do any kind of duty because he's completely dependent on Krishna and he's not dependent on any kind of other living entities. It's not said like directly Krishna, but it's a horizontal relationship, means he is not depending on any other kind of living entities which related to him, like in this material world. So in these two are qualities of like, which are describing about the attachment. So the continuation of that one is now tasmat asaktaha satatam. Asaktaha means without attachment. So therefore constantly working without attachment. Karyam karma samachara. So by perform samachara means perform the work. Karyam karma samachara. So perform the work without attachment. Then what? How? Satatam, constantly. Then what will happen? Asaktohi acharan karma. Asaktaha, unattached. So performing that unattached karma, what will happen? Paramapnoti purushaha. Param means the supreme. Apnoti means achieves. Purushaha means a man. So a man continuously tatatam working in a mood of unattached or detached. What will happen? He attains the Supreme Lord. So this is the first time, like in the Bhagavad Gita, so far from the starting, it comes like a param. Param means supreme. So it's not like a mom, Krishna said, it's kind of one way to the kind of synonym kind of thing, like paramapno the purusha, it says. So param here, Prabhupada translated as supreme. So in this way, Arjuna told to do his duty. So it's saying that one, see, if you are like a transcendentalist, there is no reason to do any work and there is nothing is there you are expecting. And Arjuna gives like, few kind reasons, like, he don't want to do the, he don't want the kingdom, and he don't need to be with the family, or he just go to the forest and be satisfied there. He says that one in first chapter. I don't want to kill, because he gives a lot of reasons, but at one point he says, I want to leave everything and go to the forest and be satisfied and sit there. So taking that point, like Krishna is saying here, so there is no difference if you go, if you are satisfied, if you are like a transcendentalist, if you satisfied in the self, and even if you are in the forest, or if you perform your duty for the pleasure of Krishna, there is no difference. So indirectly Krishna is saying, Arjuna, do your duty, but that is fight. As a Kshatriya, your duty is fighting. So in the previous verse, Krutena, na Krutena, it means that discharge or not discharge. There is not much effect for the Jnana Yogi. That's what here Krishna is saying. Whether you, Arjuna, for the counteract of the Arjuna's argument, leave everything and go to the forest. For that one, Krishna is saying, whether you are here doing your duty for the pleasure of Supreme, or if you go to the forest, there is no difference. So that's what here indirectly Krishna is saying Arjuna to perform his duty, that is fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So same thing here, we can see so here it says one small take home point is like, so frustration in material life is not sufficient for spiritual life. Like, if anyone got frustrated, and just let's turn towards our consciousness towards the spiritual. So it's not like that is not the sufficient for the spiritual growth and spiritual path, because we should not be like, if everything goes smooth in the material life, okay, then come back again, if anything goes wrong, again turn back to spiritual. So those are like, it's not kind of helping to the spiritual life. So it has to be some positive attraction towards the spiritual life. So that positive attraction is like kind of thing is tested or demonstrated. Like sometimes like it get tested, like if I'm feeling frustrated at this time, or things are not going well in my life, then turn to my consciousness towards the spiritual life. So but we have to be in the same mood when things goes right also in our life. That's what, like, when things goes good also, this desire turning towards the spiritual life should be there. That's where the positiveness comes towards to the spiritual life. Not like getting frustration from the material life that makes me to come to spiritual life means. So it may be cause, but in a long term it may not, like, to sustain that one, we need to get some positive attraction towards the spirituality. So that's where here it says then one should not, like, renounce the material life and focus on spiritual life. Like we have to be balanced both. So the transcend, if someone says I'm so transcendental, I don't, oh, what is there, I don't have anything, I got jnana from Gita, I don't work at all, like that, it means that that's why here Krishna is saying you have to do your duty to Arjuna, to set an example for the next generation, like, some for coming people. So that setting example is Krishna is going to discuss in the next verse. So Krishna here gives in the further next verses Janak Maharaj and himself also. For himself, he gives, like, in the next verse, Janaka Maharaj, like, the King Janaka, how he did all the activities and how he lived and how he attained Supreme. So basically Krishna is saying to attain Supreme, no need to renounce everything. So, and leave and go to the forest, even executing our duties also by being in the consciousness of Krishna, and at the same time by working all our whatever we are doing in the mode of detachment. Then that's what the previous verse says, right? Satatam. So that's when we work like that with detachment, unattachment, and at the same time be executing our prescribed duties, one will attain paramapnoti purushaha, one will attain the Supreme Person. So that's where here the verse is going to stop here. So there are, like, examples. Now here Krishna is going to give further that in the next two verses the examples. So I have this much for this verse. It's again a small. So if anybody have any comments or sharings or realizations, you can go ahead now. We'll take a pause now. So in the purport, I want to say one thing, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead for devotees is personality of Godhead is supreme for the devotees, and liberation is the impersonalist. So normally these yogis, what they will do, they do the all this renunciation and unattachment, or all these things for the liberation. So but here bhaktas who are the devotees, they think Lord is a person. At the same time, they execute according to the whatever Krishna is saying. They execute their work with the detachment, and at the same time they execute their prescribed duties, and they keep their goal as Krishna. That is the thing, difference between this one, bhakta and yogis. So here it says Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for purification of impious activities. So definitely those those impious activities, how they performed, that were performed in the field of sense gratification. So whatever sense gratification that works, impurity is performed, and to get rid of that one, for the atonements, people perform the Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices, and doing the impurities, and again going back to the atonements. It's kind of like, we discussed that Parikshit Maharaj says this is kind of elephant bathing. So elephant gets bathed in the water, immediately once it comes to the shore, it puts again mud on the body. So there is no point, like, committing all the impious activities, and again going to the atonements and doing all the sacrifices from the Vedas. But in Krishna consciousness is transcendental, because and to the reactions of good or evil. So because we don't expect the results, we give up the results to the Lord, and at the same time we work from the mood of detachment. So that's why it's a transcendental Krishna consciousness is transcendental, and Krishna consciousness person has no attachment for the result. That's what I said. Then he engages all his activities, but he's completely non-attached. So in that way, like, Krishna consciousness is going to help us to develop this kind of qualities. So anyone have any comments? Okay, if no one has any comments, then we'll go for the next verse, which is like 3.20. कर्मणैवाहि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहम् एवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. कर्मणैवाहि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहम् एवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. Synonyms: karmana, by work, eva, even, he, certainly, samsiddhim, in perfection, astitah, situated, janakadayaha, Janaka and other kings, loka sangraham, the people in general, eva api, also, sampashyan, considering, kartum, to act, arhasi, you deserve. Translation: Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Purport: Kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform the prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they performed all prescribed activities just to set examples for the people in general. Janaka was the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Sri Rama. Being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendentally situated, but because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of Bihar province in India, he had to teach his subjects how to perform prescribed duties. Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal friend, had no need to fight in the battlefield battle of Kurukshetra, but they fought to teach people in general that violence is also necessary in a situation where good arguments fail. Because the battle of Kurukshetra, every effort was made to avoid the war, even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the other party was determined to fight. So, for such a right cause, there is a necessity for fighting. Although one who is situated in Krishna consciousness may not have any interest in the world, he still works to teach the public how to live and how to act. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow, and this is explained in the following verse. So the following verse is very, very important. Okay, now here Krishna is setting an example. So far he described the qualities, and now Krishna is giving an example of Janaka Maharaja. So Janaka is the king of Mithila, and who is the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Ramachandra. So how Janaka? So he also he attained perfection by performing of prescribed duties, and at the same time being unattached. So here it says karma naivahi samsiddhim. Samsiddhim means attaining perfection. By work one can attain perfection. What? How? Astita janakadayaha. How situated? Janakadayaha. Janaka and other kings. Then loka sangraham evapi. People in general. Sampashyan kartum arhasi. So consider him, they act according to that one. So normally when we describe anything in the material world also, just like that, we'll take examples, setting an examples. So in any field or even in Krishna consciousness also, we get inspire each other. So because devotees, like pure devotees, they set an example how to live in Krishna consciousness. Then even in the scriptures in the past times also, they set an example for us. We should, so scriptures gives like, we should not, do's and don'ts, both will come. So it may be like, how one should not like be like a demons, like they give like different acharyas gives lot of representations of active the qualities in us, with comparing to the demons in Krishna Lila, right? So like that they are the like setting an examples for the setting an examples comes in do's and don'ts also. But here Krishna is speaking about the do's, because he gave the nicely how one should how the transcendentalist qualities explained in the previous verses. Now he is giving an example of Janaka Maharaj. So it is setting an example like how Janaka Maharaj executed in a according to all the prescribed duties, he attained the samsiddhim, perfection. So in the same way, considering you should act properly like that. So Krishna is saying in the past also there are many people like who were liberated by doing the prescribed duty. So don't think that prescribed duty cannot bring liberation, like that Krishna is saying. So by doing one's prescribed duty, what will happen? One can move forward and eventually becomes liberated. So just by executing the prescribed duties, it makes us like, but in the right consciousness, that is important. So and that makes us move progress in towards to the liberation. So in this section, that's how like Arjuna is due to the like in which Arjuna is saying like the bond that he gives lot of information, like not information, he gives lot of arguments. By killing all the people in the Kurukshetra, I will get sin. So like that, the reaction of the work, if I do all these things, then that sinful activities, the reactions of the sins occurs like that. So here Krishna is saying, once we do that prescribed duties for the according to the will of the Supreme Lord, then what will happen? He is not get born. At the same time, he will attain the Param apnoti purushaha. So he will attain the supreme. At the same time, he is giving an example, Janaka. So even in our education also, we need some kind of examples. So examples makes us to understand very clearly. At the same time, once we get the example, what we will do, we keep observing them, right? So see how he's studying, or like that, like, you know, or we will say, we will take inspiration, motivation, even in Krishna consciousness bhakti also. So how pure devotees with their sincerity, they execute a devotional service. Through their activities they preach. So at the same time, we take that one, like just seeing, watching them how they are working. So we take inspiration from them, and we also go closer to the, like, you know, Krishna, by performing the activities with the guidance of just see. So sometimes just by seeing the pure devotees activities, we get a lot of lessons. So that's how here it's saying, just by Janaka, how he did. So Krishna is saying like that, you execute your prescribed duties, which is for Loka Sangraha. So do that, like that one for the Loka Sangraha, means the people in general, whoever do, and set an example. You do your prescribed duty and set an example. So Krishna is going to talk in the next verse about himself. So how he set he made himself as a set an example, like that. So that's what I have. If anybody have any questions or realizations, you can go ahead and share. All are small purports. So seeing all these qualities, anyone have any remembered from the scriptures or pastimes or something like that? So one thing I remembered is Dhruva Maharaj just seeing the Supreme Lord, he don't have anything to ask, nothing. Dhruva started to ask something, but after that one, like just seeing the Lord, he's fully satisfied, he don't have anything to ask. Then Ambarish Maharaj, he situated as a Maharaj, like a king, but he executed all his prescribed duties, but he got, like, you know, he attained the Supreme Lord just by executing prescribed duties and performing the bhakti, keeping Krishna in the center. So like that, if anybody have any kind of recollections or remembrance of any pastimes or characters from the scriptures. And one more I'm getting, like Rishabhadev. Rishabhadev also, he renounced everything, like, you know, he don't have anything to do. So he Rishabhadev glories, like in the 5th canto you can read. There also Rishabhadev remembers he don't have any cause to do any work, any duty, and at the same time he don't have anything cause to not to do any duty, like that. Rishabhadev is also one more example for that one. So that's what I have. If anybody have anything. I think Friday evening everybody is quiet, I think.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I really enjoyed your session, but just had a quick question for the previous verse, for verse number 19. So here it says, therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. So is it that just by working without attachment, we can attain Krishna? Like, I'm just trying to understand in what context Krishna is saying this.
Without being attached to the fruits of actions, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. So basically what my thought, Prabhu, so what I'm getting at present is like Krishna, as Arjuna said, like, you know, I don't want to fight in the battlefield. So to make an Arjuna to understand, Krishna is saying, so as a transcendentalist, if you give up and if you renounce everything, if you perform like, if you become a renouncer, like, I don't want to fight and go to the forest and I live there like that. So if you behave like a transcendentalist as a renouncer, so if you stay in the forest or if you do the duty in the battlefield for the pleasure of the Lord, there is no difference. So to explain that thing, I think here Krishna is saying without attachment one attains the supreme, like that. So that's what I understood, Prabhu, keeping Arjuna in the point of view of this translation.
Yeah, makes sense, Mataji. Thank you.
It could be attaining the supreme could also mean Brahman.
Prabhuji? Yeah, for that one only here it's Purport Prabhupada mentions first sentence. The supreme is the personality of Godhead for the devotees and liberation for the impersonalist. So here Prabhupada is saying that one Arjuna is a devotee, so he sees him as a personality of Godhead.
So I mean, the only reason I was asking this was, I mean, my understanding is that, I mean, I understood your point that this is more in the context of explaining to Arjuna. So even to attain Brahman, the cultivation of knowledge is required, and to attain supreme personality of Godhead, bhakti is required. Just by acting without attachment or acting with detachment, I was thinking may not lead us towards, I mean, that is good in one way, that is more like mode of goodness kind of.
Yes, but definitely without bhakti, we can't attain the personality of Godhead. But Arjuna is, as he's a friend, already he is in the connection to Krishna. That's how I said, keeping Arjuna in the context.
Yeah, right.
That one.
Yeah, I understand
But,
that this is more in terms of the context in which Krishna is.
Context and how Krishna is telling to Arjuna. But definitely one has to develop love for the Lord and at the same time work with the detachment. So both together has to go to attain the supreme.
Yeah, understood, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Pari Prabhu, would you like to add anything to that statement which you gave, Prabhu?
Well, I think that the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita is not to enlighten Arjuna, because Arjuna is already perfect. So it's for everyone else. So he's given both options. Prabhupada is even explaining in the purport. So you certainly can't go back to Godhead without bhakti. You need bhakti. And even if you're working without detachment, Ganapati Govind says how you need knowledge, but it's very possible the knowledge can come, but don't necessarily have bhakti. And it doesn't say even in this life, it could be in a next life, or 100 lives later after doing this, then you'll attain the supreme, either one, whichever you're into.
Yes, Prabhu, very true, Prabhu. So
Yeah,
the purpose under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. It's not completely attained, but it's a progress. Like that's how it's Prabhupada explained in the purport.
As long as you continue, you'll get to the supreme.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
No further questions.
Okay, so no comments, no questions means we can end here. We'll offer prayer to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa tarubhyacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Grace.
Thank you all. Hare
Vallabi
Krishna.
Gopi Mataji ki jai.
All glory